Two companies can look at the exact same AI visibility report and walk away with completely different conclusions. One thinks they're winning, the other realizes they're not even being seriously considered. Both are looking at real data. The difference is what that data is actually measuring, because in AI, visibility and influence are not the same thing. And confusing those two is where a lot of strategy starts to break down. Hey, I'm Mark Huntley, founder and CEO of LLM Authority Index. At LLM Authority Index, we spend a lot of time analyzing how AI systems actually surface, rank, compare, and recommend companies, especially in the moments that influence real buying decisions. There's a growing category right now around AI visibility tools, and platforms like Otterly.ai are doing something genuinely valuable. They give teams a way to monitor how they show up across AI systems. That includes things like brand mentions, share of voice, citations, sentiment, prompt tracking, and visibility trends over time. For a lot of teams, especially agencies or companies managing multiple brands, that's a meaningful step forward, because for the first time, you can actually see how AI systems are talking about you at scale. And that matters. You can't improve something you can't see. But once you have that visibility, a second question shows up pretty quickly. Is this actually helping us win customers? Is this influencing how buyers make decisions? And that's where things start to get more nuanced. This isn't about saying one approach is better than the other. It's about understanding that they answer different questions. AI visibility monitoring answers. What is happening across AI platforms? Where are we showing up? How often are we mentioned? What sources are being used? That's an important layer, but it's not the same as answering, are we being recommended when it matters? Are we being positioned as the best choice? Are we actually influencing the short list? Those are different questions, and they require a different type of analysis. There are a few reasons why visibility alone doesn't always tell the full story. The first is that not all prompts carry the same weight. Some prompts are early stage, they're informational, exploratory, low intent. Others are much closer to a decision. Things like best tools for X, X versus Y. Alternatives to X. Is X worth it? Those are high intent prompts. They sit much closer to actual buying behavior. If you combine all of those into a single visibility view, you can end up with a misleading picture, because a brand can perform very well in early stage prompts and still struggle in decision stage prompts. And from a revenue perspective, those are not equivalent. The second issue is that a mention is not the same as a recommendation. A brand can appear in an AI-generated answer without being positioned as the best option. It might be listed third, or mentioned in passing, or included with caveats. That still counts as visibility, but it doesn't necessarily influence the outcome. Because a mention is just presence. A recommendation is position, and position is what shapes decisions. The third piece is ranking and framing. AI systems don't just list information. They structure it. They rank options. They describe them. They compare them. So being first versus third matters. Being described as the best choice for most users versus a decent option matters. Those differences can change how a buyer interprets the answer, and ultimately which option they choose. This is where the comparison between Otterly and LLM Authority Index becomes useful, because it highlights two different layers of the same ecosystem. Otterly is built as a monitoring and operational platform. It's designed to give teams continuous visibility into how their brand appears across AI systems. That includes tracking mentions and coverage, monitoring citations, analyzing sentiment, identifying prompt opportunities, watching trends over time. It's especially useful for teams that need ongoing tracking, multi-brand management, client reporting, workflow integration. In that sense, it functions as a visibility and monitoring layer, and for many teams, that's a critical foundation. Another important part of this comparison is reporting infrastructure. Otterly is very clear about this side of the product. Its public materials describe unlimited brand reports, daily data refreshes, team-friendly dashboards, a Looker Studio connector, and export tools in the full platform. That matters because for agencies or teams managing several brands, reporting infrastructure is not a small detail. You need a repeatable workflow. You need dashboards. You need reporting that can be shared. You need updates that happen regularly enough to track movement over time. And that is one of the places where Otterly is especially useful. It is built to support ongoing AI search monitoring across brands, prompts, markets, and engines. LLM Authority Index reporting also has reporting infrastructure, but it is framed differently. The company report, competitor report, and full report include dashboard access. The full analysis includes a 15-tab dashboard. Reports and dashboards are updated monthly, and enterprise APIs are available for clients to interact with their data. So the difference is not really platform versus no platform. It is monitoring first platform versus intelligence first reporting platform. Otterly is more publicly explicit about the operational monitoring stack. LLM Authority Index is built around report, dashboard, export, and API access tied to decision stage intelligence. And that distinction matters because both products support reporting, but they are organizing that reporting around different goals. Otterly is organized around continuous AI search visibility monitoring. LLM Authority Index is organized around understanding recommendation, ranking, and buyer influence. That leads into the second layer of the comparison, decision stage intelligence. LLM Authority Index reporting is less focused on continuous monitoring and more focused on structured analysis of decision stage behavior. The emphasis is on understanding how AI influences actual choice. That includes things like high intent prompt clusters, recommendation share, top 1, top 3 positioning, mention to rank conversion, citation architecture, demand concentration. So instead of asking where are we showing up, it asks where are we being chosen, where are we being recommended, where are we winning or losing when decisions are made. You can think of it as breadth versus depth. Monitoring gives you breadth. It shows you what's happening across a wide surface area. Decision stage intelligence gives you depth. It shows you what's happening in the moments that actually carry commercial weight. Take prompts as an example. A monitoring platform helps you discover and track prompts across AI systems. That gives you coverage. You can see where your brand appears and how that changes over time. A decision-focused model organizes those prompts differently. It groups them by intent, and more importantly, it prioritizes the ones that sit closest to a buying decision, because not every prompt contributes equally to revenue. So one approach helps you see the full landscape. The other helps you understand which parts of that landscape matter most, and that naturally leads to prompt demand. Because once you start separating prompts by intent, the next question is how much commercial weight those prompts actually carry. There's an important nuance here. This is not saying Otterly has no prompt research layer. Otterly does have one. Its prompt research tool can generate prompt ideas from SEO keywords, URLs, and brand or industry inputs. It also returns relevant scores and intent volume estimates. So if your goal is to build a prompt library, identify prompt opportunities, and monitor AI search visibility trends, that is directly in Otterly's wheelhouse. But there is also a broader challenge in this category. AI search engines like ChatGPT and Perplexity do not publish query data in the same way traditional search engines do, and there is not currently a public keyword tool for AI search. So the question becomes, how is prompt demand being modeled, organized, and used? This is where LLM Authority Index takes a different approach. LLM Authority Index reporting uses modeled cluster query volume and demand concentration. That means high intent prompt clusters are not treated as a flat list of prompts. They are weighted by commercial importance. So instead of only asking what prompts should we track, the question becomes, where is demand concentrated? Which prompt clusters carry the most commercial weight? And are we converting visibility in those areas into recommendations and ranking capture? That is the strategic difference. Otterly is useful when you want prompt research, prompt monitoring, and AI visibility trends. LLM Authority Index is stronger when you want prompt demand connected directly to commercial weight, decision stage importance, and competitive opportunity cost. Take citations. Monitoring tools show you which domains and URLs are being cited. That helps you understand where your brand is being referenced and where competitors might be gaining visibility. A more structured analysis looks at citation architecture. It asks, what types of sources are influencing AI recommendations? Are they editorial sites, review platforms, community discussions, official pages? And more importantly, are those sources supporting your inclusion as a recommended option or just mentioning you without influencing the outcome? So one approach shows you the citation landscape. The other interprets how that landscape affects recommendation. Sentiment is another place where the two approaches overlap, but treat the metric differently. Otterly is very explicit about sentiment. It defines brand sentiment as the emotional tone of AI-generated mentions. It also uses a net sentiment score framework. That makes sense for a visibility monitoring platform. If AI systems are mentioning your brand, you want to know whether the tone is positive, neutral, cautious, or negative. You want to know if your brand is being recommended enthusiastically. You also want to know if it is being mentioned with caveats or dismissed outright. That kind of sentiment reporting is useful. LLM Authority Index also includes sentiment views in the current dashboard. But sentiment is not the center of the model. Sentiment is treated as one explanatory layer inside a broader decision system. That broader system includes presence, recommendation share, ranking layers, citation architecture, recoverability, and demand concentration. So the question is not only, is AI speaking positively about us? The deeper question is AI speaking about us in a way that helps us win high-intent recommendation moments? That is the distinction. Otterly makes sentiment a clear part of monitoring AI-generated mentions. LLM Authority Index uses sentiment as context for understanding whether a company is actually gaining recommendation strength in decision stage prompts. Take metrics. Monitoring platforms often include blended metrics like visibility indexes or share of voice. These are useful for tracking trends and summarizing performance. They make reporting easier. A more diagnostic approach separates the layers. It looks at presence, recommendation share, and ranking position independently. That makes the analysis more complex, but it also makes it more actionable because you can see exactly where the gap is. The key point is not choosing one over the other, it's understanding what each one is designed to do. If your goal is ongoing monitoring, visibility tracking, trend analysis, multi-brand reporting, prompt research, citation tracking, sentiment monitoring, then a platform like Otterly is a strong fit. That is especially true for agencies and in-house teams that need daily updates, cross-brand workspaces, Looker Studio reporting, and a clear operational layer for AI search visibility. If your goal is understanding buyer influence, analyzing high-intent decision moments, identifying where you win or lose recommendations, connecting AI presence to commercial impact, understanding recommendation share, ranking capture, citation architecture, demand concentration, and recoverability, then a decision stage intelligence layer becomes more relevant. In practice, many teams will need both because visibility is the input, but recommendation is the outcome. And you can't fully understand one without eventually connecting it to the other. This reflects a broader shift in how AI discovery works. We're moving from a world where the question was, are we showing up? To a world where the question is, how are we being positioned and are we being chosen? Because AI systems don't just surface information. They shape decisions, they compress comparison, they influence perception, they guide selection. And that means measurement has to evolve, not by replacing visibility tracking, but by building on top of it. So the cleanest way to think about this is Otterly helps you monitor AI visibility at scale. LLM Authority Index helps you understand how that visibility translates into recommendation, ranking, and buyer influence. They're not competing ideas. They're different layers of the same system. And the real advantage comes from understanding how those layers connect. Because visibility tells you where you are, but recommendation tells you whether you're actually winning.